everybody. Thank you for coming out to the Class of 2019 International Video Game Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Okay, on to our next celebrity, Brian F. Colin. Brian is an American video game designer and artist and animator, among his most well known for coin-operated arcade games like Rampage. Wasn't there a Rampage movie too? Were you in that, Brian? I thought I saw you. Yeah, I thought I saw Brian in that. I was going, I know him. Okay, but I digress as I do normally. Arch Rivals, Rampage, World Tour, General Chaos for the Sega console. He's also the CEO of Game Refuge, an independent video game design and development studio with offices in Downers Grove, Illinois. He's been noted for his work in the field of bitmapping video game graphics and animation, creating video game sprites and tiled background graphics with recognizable, identifiable style. Other than that, he's just kind of a cool dude. Brian F. Colin.
Thank you so much. I'm not going to get choked up, but I really appreciate it. That's not true, I am going to get choked up. This means so much to me, you have no idea, for a lot of reasons. I don't follow the industry. I make games for a living. I make games for fun. I make games more than I play games. So I never really know what's going on. I've been making games for 37 years. I backed into it. I thought I was going to Bally to apply for a job as a pinball artist, because I had pen and ink kind of style, and they said, no, we want you to do art for video games. And I'm thinking, Pac-Man, really? And I was, making a solid living at the time, doing, ads for bars and getting paid in beer and popcorn. So I figured, no, this. And they called and they said, no, we want you to come work for us and we're going to pay you a salary. And I choked up then. I'm hanging up the phone and I turned and some friends of mine were standing around and I hung up the phone and I said, that's it, childhood's over. I've got a real job. And I was wrong on both counts. It has never been anything like a real job, and I've been blessed to be able to be a child for the next 37 years. And because I don't follow the community, because I don't follow the industry, I just wait till someone taps me on the shoulder and I make games for them. I had no idea communities were coming back and the arcade world was coming back until I met somebody actually that got me here today just a few years ago and clued me into that. People remember what I did back then and the contributions I made, and it means so much to find out 30 years later, 37 years later, that people still remember. So thank you all for remembering. Thank you for the Hall of Fame for this. It really, I don't want to turn it around because I don't want to make the mistake of standing up here like this and just looking at it because it looks great. But thank you all so much. And I don't want to ramble because those that know me know I will ramble. Thanks again. Thank you very much.
Our next inductee, we're going to do something a little different. It's Doc Mack, but we just had somebody inducted, Brian F. Colin, and he is going to do the intro for Doc Mack. Wait. Brian F. Colin for Doc Mack. So we like have a movie star in it doing Doc Mack, right? Here we go.
I would be delighted. I would be delighted. It's also an honor to introduce this next guy. You all know who he is. He is a legend in his own mind. No, he is a legend. I wasn't aware of him until a half dozen years ago when my social media director said, how do you not know this guy? It's the most incredible arcade. He introduced me. We immediately got along and spent hours discussing and arguing. I'm sorry, let's just stay with discussing. Game concepts and game history and where the world was, and I learned a ton from him. And one of the things I'm most grateful for learning from him was that people still remembered stuff that, you know, that had been done for 30 years. So he introduced me to this whole culture. And one of the things I remember back in some of our early discussions was, you know, we'd talk about what he wants to do on the development side, and we'd talk about what he wants to do. And it's like, so what do you really want to do, Doc? And he's like, I want to bring back the arcades to the world. And I rolled my eyes. I'm a little older than Doc, and you know, you kind of just, I shrugged, and it's like, yeah, no. Why don't you lower your sights a little bit? You know, that's not a vision that any one person can achieve. And I'm also the guy that predicted the internet was a fad and nobody needed more than 3 channels and beta over VHS. So I'm so happy to be proved wrong, because he has done so much for the global gaming, for the global arcade community, in that everything he does is about bringing arcades back to the world, and what he shares of his knowledge. He's a wonderful guy, and I didn't mean to go into this much detail. What I really wanted to do is I wanted to tell you people things you don't know about Doc. So I did a little private investigating, and I found out some things from a number of people that are very close to him. Questions that the industry needs to know. For example, what is Doc Mac's favorite marsupial? It is the possum. I've been told with some authority, what is his favorite, in RGB values, what is his favorite color? 0000000, which is black to you and me. And in that same vein, anybody that knows Doc knows that you know, he's known for his wardrobe, and it's usually pretty standard. So I asked, you know, I said, okay, now, he's known for wearing black. Does he own a Hawaiian shirt, a Christmas tie, or any lacy underwear of any kind? And someone investigated and said they were not able to find any of that in his closets, but they did find over 100 different Galloping Ghost shirts. So we know that now. And this is the one that really got me from day one, and you can see it right there. He's always smiling. So, you know, I had to ask. I said, you know, is this because he doesn't know what's going on? Or is he picturing everyone naked? All right? And this answer I got to share, even though I hate to do it because it's so heartfelt. But the conclusion that was reached, that he's simply really, really, really a good guy. I've got a lot more of these, and this runs way too long. I mean, he's got a couple main obsessions, engines and arcades, obviously, so I asked if it was true, that the rumor was true, that he was trying to convert a Star Trek Voyager capsule into a street legal vehicle. That one was not confirmed. Let's see. You know, he has a signature hairstyle, so I asked about what his opinion was on man buns, and the guess was probably negative. His generosity, you know, like I say, he shares everything with everyone. His generosity is legendary, and I asked if he would remember loaning me $11 to that cocktail waitress that one time, and they said no. Then even if he did, he wouldn't make me pay it back. So the only real thing that you need to know is what does he plan to do once he has got an arcade in every neighborhood in America? And the quote was the same thing Brain usually tells Pinky: try to take over the world. So without any more of this nonsense, please welcome the best man I know in Arcadia, Doc Mac.
Thank you so much for this. It's definitely, truly an honor to get called out for doing what I do, which is essentially just get to hang out with great people, talk to industry legends like Brian Colin and Jeff Lee and Ed Boon, and it's been amazing to be in on creating a place where it puts the spotlight on the players and the industry people. And I've seen so many people be happy from going to that place. I've seen people who have done great things get the accolades that they have deserved for so terribly long within this community. And it's just truly an honor to be a part of it. It's truly an honor to receive this award. And Brian had mentioned, what do you do once there's an arcade in every city? And the goal is to get other companies to make more arcade games and keep growing it, keep growing the community, keep acknowledging players and developers, and just take gaming to new heights that it's seen some great days, and it can continue to shine and become bigger and bigger and enjoyed by people all around the world. So I thank you so much for this. It means so much to me. So thank you, everybody.
Person on this list is Jeff Peters, Golden Age Gamer. I have a bio that's like 17 pages long for Jeff Peters, but he is a Golden Age Gamer, and he has multiple records. The things that really hold some credence are the ones that he still holds, that he was a founder of the modern-day U.S. national video game team, and he serves on it now even. I know there's a mashup video here that may speak better of this than me reading his whole list of accomplishments, but he has also worked on such notable properties as Mortal Kombat, NBA Jam, Madden, Tetris, Monopoly, Metro 233, and Tiger Woods. Worked for Viacom, Disney, Amblin, Warner Brothers, DC, Hasbro. And if you're looking for a job, if you just talk to Jeff, he knows everybody. So, Jeff Peters.
Hall of Fame committee. Honored to be up here. Have someone figured out how to say the acronym appropriately? No? And to think that was either that or be a lawyer. Way back when. The last time I was in Ottumwa was 35 years ago, living in the back of the Twin Galaxies Arcade. How I got there and how we got there right from Southern California, that's a long story beyond the scope of tonight. But it is interesting, the ties and the roots and some of the pictures and how this journey has gone. Some of the fun stories of living in the back of an arcade, or like when the fire department finally found out we were living there and came in to kick us out. That was a fun day. Or that our shower was essentially a mop sink with a cardboard barrier around it. So I guess that prepares for door night at some point. It's been a fun time in this business and trying to navigate it, going from the dawn of competitive gaming, which is what we were trying to figure out at the time, to be professional gamers. And navigate it through passion, kind of be part of this industry and figure out as the industry is going, where is it going and how do we fit within this menagerie, if you will. And, lots of stories have come from that time frame as well that are kind of fun. Some of these are, I can't unsee, like the time watching Billy Mitchell walk a full centipede cabinet into a bathroom stall. The first time I met Walter Day when he brought his entourage out to Starship Video in Southern California, we got to meet that crew for the first time. Or playing in a tournament in Los Angeles and having all the TV crews throw their spotlights in the middle of the last game of Cheyenne that I was playing. It was a light gun game. Spotlights and light gun games don't go together, so that was good. And then, of course, being able to say that I actually traveled to other countries as a professional video game player and competitor to compete against their national teams. That was kind of fun. But really, this career of mine started with Walter and enabling this competitive streak that I had. There was an arcade called JK's Arcade in Rancho Cucamonga, California that used to put high scores above their arcade games. And I thought, I want to be on these plaques. I want to be up there. And then I found Starship Video, which not only had the same thing, but they had a plaque that had world records on it. So not just local, not just the arcade, but best in the world, best in the US. And that was kind of the connection to the Twin Galaxies. So that unfortunately enabled me, and lawyer went to the side and got to find a way to continue with this video game business. Although I still believe arguing is a competitive sport, so I haven't given that up. I have to give credit to my parents for putting up with me on this journey. As ill-advised as some of their support may have been, I guess it maybe worked out in the end. Like, for example, the U.S. National Video Game Team and EGM were started out of my grandmother's house. I don't know how parents support those types of weird things, but as it took off and grew, I guess their support in this was kind of well-founded. I guess they knew more than I did. It's been fun over the last 30 plus years to be part of trends in gaming consoles and arcades and traveling and brands and all sorts of fun stuff. So it's been a good journey. I still believe in competitive gaming and am thrilled to see where esports is going. Back in the 80s, and as part of the stuff we do with the U.S. National Video Game Team, we always envisioned this video game Olympics, where 30 to 50,000 people went to a stadium and watched someone play Miss Pac-Man, or Centipede, or Galaga, or Dig Dug. And for lots of reasons it didn't happen then, but hey, that's exactly what's happening right now with more people now being online, which I think is absolutely fantastic, that we can recognize that playing video games is a competitive thing. It's a skill-based sport. I believe in preservation after all this time, and restoring history and recognizing that, hey, we're now almost a 50-year-old industry. It's a true art form, it's a legitimate business, it's the only growth form of entertainment still going on right now, and to still support this. If you're interested in the history of the U.S. National Video Game Team, you can go to the U.S. National Video Game Team.com and look at the history and all the documents and stuff we've been preserving there. I also restore pinball machines and arcade games as well, and trying to help out that community. And at this point, I also believe in trying to give back to the community as much as possible. For example, I teach a business course in the video game industry at the University of Utah, specifically to help new game designers and game developers of navigate this thing through. How do I make money with this stuff? As well as run a nonprofit organization in Utah called the Utah Digital Entertainment Network, or UDEN, which is about building the community, building the sector, getting the film and video game communities to work together, helping talent grow, all that type of stuff. So it's fun to be in that position and to look for ways to give back and help inspire the new generation. And if my journey of going from competitive gamer to developer is inspiration for someone else, great, let them see that that's a path to turn this into a career and something fun to do. People have asked me what I do over the years, and I just simply tell them, I make fun. Because to me, that's what it is. I'm still doing that today, still actively developing projects and developing stuff in the gaming industry, and currently working on stuff that's years out there trying to leapfrog where things are. So here's to the next 30 plus years of where this business goes, and hopefully fun. And thank you guys very much for this offer.
Okay, so our next inductee is here, and I have tormented him several times over the years. Donald Hayes. Donald Hayes. Got information up on Don? Don is arguably one of the most underrated gamers in the world. He is in 2000s gamer, but if he was a few years older, he would have been a classic gamer because he excels at classic games. He has Centipede, Dig Dug. I'm not going to say Joust because that's my game, but he's pretty freaking good at that too. Normal speed and turbo speed, arcade, emulator. He's just really hard to beat in any game. Don Hayes.
Hi everyone. I'm dressed up today. They told me it was an important thing here. It's like seeing Bigfoot. I don't dress up very often, but very happy to accept this nomination to the International Video Game Hall of Fame. Growing up in the 80s, I never really imagined this is where it would lead to. I wasn't well known back in the 80s. I lived in a small town in northern New Hampshire, so playing games was just something fun for me to do, and it just continued on. And just a quick story about when I first met Walter was at a Fun Spot tournament in New Hampshire in 2000. He saw me playing Millipede, and he said, wow, you're really high level playing like this. And I said, well, I'm actually better at Centipede. I went on to score 3.7 million at that tournament, and later on I got the world record, and that was my first world record on Centipede later that year. So just like to thank the committee again for this honor. I'd like to thank my family for supporting me all these years, and just happy to be here and to visit. Thank you.
Don Hayes, I'm going to have to go play some more Joust. Okay, our next inductee, Peter Hahn, and Doc Mack is here to do his introduction and acceptance. Doc?
Thank you so much. Pete really wanted to be here. Unfortunately, he had a previous engagement. I have watched Pete from the time he started coming to the Galloping Ghost Arcade. And while at the start of it, high scores were not his top priority. And over the years that he's been coming, not only has he helped build the community behind the arcade, but he got into scoring in a major way. His first forte was in the fighting game community, which we had him on our Team Galloping Ghost, which he excelled and did phenomenally well in so many tournaments. And as the fighting community changed, he then turned his focus solely on high score gaming. And watching him set record after record and focus specifically on literally anything on the arcade floor as it would come in, from shooters and shmups, even some classics, fighting games. I've never seen such a consistent amount of effort go into setting scores and world records. So on behalf of Pete Hahn, we appreciate this award. So, thank you.
Hello, this is Pete Hahn here. Just wanted to take a few minutes and first of all, apologize for not being able to be there in person today. I am going to be at my brother's wedding. I'm a groomsman at his wedding, and I'm going to be spending the day there, so I apologize for not being able to be here in person to receive this great honor. But first of all, just wanted to say thank you so much to the International Video Game Hall of Fame for choosing me. This is an amazing honor that I never in 100 years thought I'd be worthy of, and I'm humbled that I've been chosen. Just taking a look at the inductees this year, being inducted with Donald Hayes, the man's a living legend, and to be inducted and be among a name like that's just incredible. So thank you so much for choosing me. I also wanted to say thank you to Ottumwa's Old School Pinball and Arcade. They're great hosts and host the trading card ceremonies and the events like the ones here today, so thank you so much to them. I wanted to say a very, very huge thank you to Doc Mack, who is the owner of Galloping Ghost Arcade, who is also being inducted today. Without his location, the Galloping Ghost Arcade in Brookfield has not only given me a place to be a member of the great community there, but also Doc has advocated for me and really kind of gotten my name out there, and I don't think people would even know who I was without Galloping Ghost Arcade and Doc Mack kind of being the advocate for so many players at the arcade there. And speaking of the arcade, the local scene at Galloping Ghost is just amazing. So I want to say thank you so much to all the players there who have supported me, competed with me, hung out with me. You all know who you are. You know, Jamie Tibbetts, Matt Walters, James White, Fred DeHart, Peter Gores, Chris Plackey, Andrew, Tom Christie, and everyone that shows up there Mondays. You know, we got a great group there. Got a great group of employees, great group of regulars, and the camaraderie between everyone there just is it's incredible. So I do want to say thank you for supporting me in this. I also want to say thank you to my wife for being very supportive of my hobby, whether it be attending events, whether it be just giving me time to practice and be away from her and other events. But she's super supportive, so thank you, Kristen. So it's very much appreciated. But I do apologize once again. I can't be here today to accept this honor, and thank you again so much to the International Video Game Hall of Fame for choosing me. I am very, very appreciative and humbled, and that's about all I've got. So have a great rest of your night. Take care.